Hey guys, it's Melanie here, and welcome to my podcast. So, today is my first ever podcast that I'm doing, so it might be a little shaky, but today I'm going to be focusing on becoming a substitute teacher and kind of my experiences and my recommendations for you guys if you are education majors out there seeking potentially becoming a substitute teacher. If you're anything like me, you always need a push in order to get something done. It's hard to become motivated. So for me, I never really thought that I would become a substitute without that push, and because it's become something that's so mandatory at Kane, I went out, I did it, and I love it. So first, let's start off with how to get your subcert. I know you can get it through a website called sourceforteachers.com, where basically you just input your information, a resume, your experience, and you have to pay the fee, obviously, to get your subcert. And then you go in for an interview at the school that you've requested to be at, and I think it takes a few weeks to get your subcert, but once you get it, just go out and, make connections with other teachers out there so that when you're out in the field, it makes it so much easier for you. So the route that I took was a little different. Instead of using Source for Teachers, I went directly to my town. So I reached out to the Board of Education and I let them know that I was interested in becoming a substitute and what I had to do to get that subcert. The woman basically just told me that she was going to be sending me an application in the mail, and it had every single component listed on what I need to get done before I'm capable of getting my subcert. Whether it's making sure that your background check is clear, getting your fingerprinting done, you need to get a doctor's appointment and get your MAN 2 testing, and then of course you have to pay the fee. I think it took me about a month to get everything done, and I submitted everything, and the next step is having an interview with the school principal. And I know that may sound intimidating, but honestly, it's really easy, it's simple, and if you're at the right school, you'll feel comfortable right away. So now I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my experience of my first few days substituting, how I felt about it, and how to really make yourself feel comfortable when you're in, I guess, an awkward situation or a different situation that you don't really know how to handle quite yet. So the town that I am subbing for, honestly, I love. I grew up here and I'm grateful for the ways that they run their system. So I know a lot of schools, they just make you go out and figure everything out for yourself. But here in my town, they actually offer you a day where you can shadow a teacher to kind of get you in your element. So if you don't know what you're doing, they'll walk you through every step so that when you go out on your first day of substituting, you know exactly what you should be doing and how to handle certain situations. So on my first day, I was put in a first grade classroom with a wonderful teacher. She was so nice, and she actually graduated from Kane University as well with an education degree. And she was also a substitute, so she knew exactly where I was coming from and kind of how to point me in the right direction, which was really cool to relate to somebody who was in the same shoes as I was, 20 years ago. I remember going in that day with so many nerves and thoughts going through my brain, like what was going to happen, what kind of teacher was I going to be with, and one of the biggest things for me was I was not familiar with this school. The town that I grew up in is a really big town, and we have 4 different elementary schools. So this one in particular, I have never entered inside until this day. So I was kind of nervous that they were expecting me to know where everything was, and I was going to be lost, and I didn't want to be that awkward substitute who had to ask other teachers, oh, where's the gym? Or where's the music classroom? So I was definitely nervous when it came to that, but honestly, everything went great. I loved it. I know it may seem a little weird to ask a first grader where the music room is or where the art class is, but it's okay. They're kids and they won't judge you, and that's something that I didn't figure out until my first day. I would rather have to ask the kids where certain things are than mess up and have them all freak out and make a big deal about it. Because trust me, first graders love drama. So after my first day of substituting, I felt pretty good. I didn't feel 100% confident in myself to go out the next day and be completely on my own. So what I did was I waited a few more days before I took any jobs, and then I was assigned to a 4th grade class. And the reason I chose to go in this class was because I saw that there was another teacher in the room. So technically I wasn't shadowing her, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to be alone. So I took that job just to get a little more practice and to get more experience with some older kids. I was definitely more hands-on this time, and I actually got to teach my first lesson, which was really fun, but also extremely terrifying at the same time. After being in that 4th grade class, I feel like I grew not only as a person, but as a teacher, and I learned how to deal with a lot of different situations, and I kind of got to compare how different 1st graders are to 4th graders and how much I liked 4th graders more. The 4th graders were just so much more capable of doing more independent work rather than 1st graders needed to be told to do everything 30 times. And it was just more relaxing to teach 4th grade, even though I really liked 1st grade as well. The teacher that I was with this time wasn't as nice and sweet as the 1st grade teacher, but sometimes you just need some tough love to learn. So now I'm going to talk about some really good times that I've had while being a substitute teacher. So recently I was back in that 1st grade class that I shadowed for my first day, and I went in, I had a lot more experience than I did the first time. I knew these kids, so I definitely felt a lot more confident, not only in myself, but I felt confident that the kids were going to treat me the way that they would treat their teacher. So of course, as a teacher, you have to get to school around 30 minutes before the kids arrive. So when I got in, I went into my classroom and I sat at the desk reading over the plans that I had for that day. A few minutes in, the secretary of the main office came into my room and she was looking at something, and I didn't quite understand what she was looking at until she yelled out, "Oh my gosh, they hatched." And I was so confused, and I looked at her and I said, "What hatched?" And she told me that all the 1st grade classes were hatching chicks, and I thought that was the cutest thing ever. So I went over to the corner of the room to where she was standing, and I looked inside this incubator, and there were 12 baby chicks in there. So she immediately warned me that the kids were going to go crazy when they saw these chicks. So me as a teacher and having the authority that I have, I had to make sure that no kids were touching these chicks so that they were safe and nothing would happen to them. Throughout the day, of course, these kids were going crazy, staring at the chicks, telling everyone to be quiet because they were trying to go to sleep. It was honestly so hectic in that classroom, but it was so worth it. The kids were so attached to these chicks, making sure that they were okay and that they were safe and eating and drinking water. In this class, we have a lot of crazy and loud kids, and to see them take authority and tell everybody else to be quiet because we were scaring the chicks and that they wanted to go to sleep was really cute. So all in all, even though substituting may seem like something scary, it's something that's really fun, and not everything is going to go the way that it should go. And even though there's a plan, sometimes you can't always go by what the plan says. Things are going to have to change. Some kids might not understand the lesson, or they just can't concentrate, and that's fine. Nothing has to be perfect. So I know this podcast was a lot about me rambling on about, my experience of being a substitute teacher, but I really do hope it helps you guys and motivates you to go out and get your sub cert, because honestly, it is so worth it, and I can't stress that enough. I know it's scary about the thought of, being by yourself as an inexperienced teacher, but you're going to learn so much, and these kids will respect you because they know that you have authority. So just go out, do it, and you will love it, and I can promise you that. I hope you guys really take my advice, but if not, that's okay. I know it's not for everybody. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!